bills are all due, and the baby needs shoes, and I'm busted. Cotton is down to
AM 1220 KHTS. Carl Goldman here with you on this beautiful Friday afternoon. We have the debt doctor back in the house, Lou Esbin. And
thanks for having me back.
You dressed nicely today.
I did dress nicely. You told me that I was going to be videotaped, so I had
unlike me. You know,
I usually have the Tommy Bahama, the T-shirt on, right?
And we learned that we have to ask. Kyle Jellings is here too. So what do you think, Stripe? Can you take a look at the camera? Because Stripes, I'm not quite sure if they make it. So I'm not sure if I dressed according. They'll work. Okay,
Yeah,
we'll see.
those will
We'll need our fashion consultants.
And the herringbone.
Yeah, no, those. Yeah, that's looking good.
Here we go.
So what we're going to be doing for the next hour is talking about bankruptcy. And as you're all listening and saying, "Oh, bankruptcy," sounds like it's going to be a terrific 1 hour. It actually, as we've learned in the past, is fascinating stuff because this right now in today's economy, this impacts all of us. And Lou, this hour, I really wanted to look at the 10 myths, the top 10 myths about bankruptcy. We did a little research to find out what people think bankruptcy is and what people don't think bankruptcy is. So over the next hour, you're going to learn about bankruptcy, how it impacts you, how it impacts all of us, whether you're impacted by it directly. I guarantee you know someone who's either thinking about it or at least maybe considering it as a possible alternative to get themselves out of real financial hassles right now.
And I hear so much from people. They look at something on the internet and they have some misconceptions, or they talk to this one or they talk to that one. So a lot of times the opening part of the consultation that I have with people is trying to basically remove the myths so I can really drill down and help them out.
Terrific. And one of the things that just astonishes me, and it's to me each time I meet you, we talk about this as a setup for all conversations, but it still is mind-boggling every time. And I know Kyle, who's over there in the controls, Kyle doesn't know this, but there are 270,000 lawyers operating in California.
I did know that.
A lot.
Yes.
You did know that there are 270,000.
Yes.
But
Licensed attorneys.
Licensed attorneys. Some are operating and some are not.
Yes.
But
Some we have to question.
But the shocking statistics, shockingly, there are only now 120 certified bankruptcy specialists. So it's a real specialty thing. You did not know that, did you?
That I did not know.
And
no.
we are going to quiz you later on. But
That's right.
So what is a bankruptcy specialist, Lou?
Someone who is a certified bankruptcy specialist is someone who has attained a certain number of years of experience, represented so many hundreds or thousands of clients, and appeared in so many hundreds or thousands of cases and proceedings before the court. They have to take and pass an exam, which is given every other year. The next exam will be given in October of 2013.
And this is an exam given by the state. So we're talking about certified by the state of California, correct? Or is it federal?
No, well, the licensing of lawyers is all state.
Okay.
Okay. So, but within all the lawyers, there are certain specialties, and so bankruptcy is one, and patent and trademark, and trust and estates, and family law. And so bankruptcy is one, and they have to take and pass an exam that's given every other year. And even after they pass the exam, they still have to get referrals, and they have to meet the MCLE requirements. And after they take the exam, it can take up to a year or even two before they actually get that certification. So it's an arduous process.
So it really separates you from the rest of the pack, too, in terms of the specialty.
It really does. And for example, myself, I'm sitting on the Bankruptcy Law Advisory Commission, which is a state bar committee, and that's a 5-year appointment that I have. And I am the public outreach chair. So my job is to try to educate the public on why a certified specialist, whether it's in bankruptcy or any other of the certified specialties, is someone the public should look to for counseling.
And last year you went back, wasn't it last summer you went back to Duke University?
November. In November, I guest lectured in Duke. We were reorganizing B of A. I guess we should have been reorganizing Stockton.
Yes. Or their basketball team.
And that was a really a high point for me.
Yeah, let's you know what? While you bring up, before we get into the 10 myths, Stockton's in the news right now.
It's huge.
How can a city become bankrupt and declare bankruptcy?
Well, there are 6 bankruptcy chapters, 7, 9, 11, 12, 13, and 15. I used to say that Chapter 9 is what Orange County filed, and now I'm going to say that it's what Stockton filed also. It's funny that the news about Stockton's bankruptcy came out at the same time as the Supreme Court decision on healthcare. And the healthcare issue got a lot more press. But I think that in the long run, Stockton's bankruptcy filing will deserve far more attention of both the federal government and the state government, and as well as Wall Street, because I think Stockton is a city that they're going to be cutting out their retirees' benefits. And so you're looking at people who otherwise, if the health care bill had not been upheld by the Supreme Court, they would have been without health care. So the two coming together are really important issues. And with Stockton filing, I think they're $500 million unfunded retiree benefits. Well, if Stockton is in that position, how many other cities across America? I think if you add up the unfunded benefits of retirees of these municipalities, it's going to dwarf the amount that Greece and Italy and Spain have outstanding. I don't think Wall Street is doing us any justice. All they do is look east to Europe, because that's where their vacation homes are. And they think that the world ends at the Hudson River, and the Washington thinks that it ends at the Potomac River, but there's a lot going on in the rest of the country, and I don't think they have their eye on it.
So let me just understand something with the Stockton situation.
Okay.
A lot of I get that the pension plan is going to have issues, and,
Right.
and they can't fund that. There are going to be other debts that Stockton has, whether it's their let's just take their landscapers as an example. So they've been the landscapers have a contract with Stockton. They've been doing the landscaping. They aren't getting paid up front. So now, does the day of the bankruptcy, is everything that's still owed to the landscape company, that now sits, what happens to that contract?
Just as any other unsecured debt.
So that landscaper,
He waits.
He's going to have to wait, and he's going to probably get 10 cents on the dollar in the end of whatever was owed to him.
Municipal bankruptcies are a very different bird. And a lot of it actually is controlled by the state legislatures. So when Harrisburg, Pennsylvania filed, the Pennsylvania legislature then enacted legislation that would prohibit further municipal filings. So to say how anyone is going to be treated is really different in some ways than the typical bankruptcy that you and I would understand, and in some ways very much alike.
So it's similar then moving forward, if that
Correct.
landscaper continues to do it, he's going to get paid as he moves forward. So as he does his work for this week, landscaping for Stockton, he's going to get a check post-bankruptcy
Right.
Out of that, but it's the pre-bankruptcy that's still owed to him that will be the issue for him.
That's correct.
So it's going to hurt a lot of the little guys out there. You think of all the vendors who are working, doing things for Stockton, and
It
gonna trickle down.
definitely drills down.
Then the other piece of it is there's probably, I don't know this for a fact, but if it's similar to Santa Clarita, there might be bond money. Like we have the open space bond here. We have other bonds that are tied in with the city. What happens to the bondholders?
There's negotiated restructuring repayment of the debt.
So the bonds could get totally restructured
Right.
based on whatever they negotiate
And,
out.
and municipal bankruptcy filings are not new. There were municipal bankruptcy filings several times in the past in the late 19th century, early 20th century after the Depression. You had quite a few municipal filings. You just didn't hear about them, but they're a necessary part of our economy, just like the rest of the bankruptcies are.
And then who steps in and bails them out at this point? Do they just have to, Stockton just has to restructure itself and come up with something clean?
That's right. Just like Orange County did.
Yeah. So there's not, it's not like B of A getting bailed out or the big banks getting bailed out right now by the federal government.
That's correct.
That's not going to happen, or General
That's not.
Motors. This is going to be a situation where they now have to figure it out, clean up their own mess, and move forward. But meanwhile, a lot of people are going to get hurt by this.
And a big part of the stimulus monies that were put out after 2008, during 2009, actually went to try to keep the municipalities afloat by subsidizing payments for police and fire and other municipal services. It's just the money's over. It's gone. And now we're going to see what happens when you kick the can down the road. This is where we are. This is where we're going to be coming up against.
And as you said, Lou, just the tip of the iceberg.
I think so.
For what's going to be happening. We're talking with the debt doctor, Lou Esbin, here on your hometown station. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to touch upon and go down the 10 top myths about bankruptcies. You're going to want to stick around. Hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.
Step into a